How are you? Good.
Okay, well, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Jennifer Steele, who's our chairman, is out today, and Shelby Schuler, who is our co-chair, is also out. So I will be your person. So we do have a quorum. We have 6. And I believe Kelly will show up in a few minutes, Kelly Tyler. So that will be good. You'll look at the minutes of April 21st, and we'll go over and if they are correct or not correct, if someone will make a motion. That's those minutes. Do I hear a second? Second. You did that, Ben? Yes. Thank you. The first thing on our agenda today is the sponsorship activities update. Kelly's going to do a brief recap of all the events that have happened since we met last. Just a quick update of each of those.
Well, I believe as you know, the 2016-17 year has kicked off. We ended up last time and we had a couple events remaining from the 2015-2016 year. We had the Sandestin Triathlon and the Alice Beach 5K and Fun Run, and those all happened before October 1st. Then moving into the new fiscal year, we had the very successful Bloody Mary Festival at the market shops. It seemed very successful. I wasn't in town for it, but I heard that it was really good. And moving from there, South Walton Fashion Week, it had a new venue this year. It kind of spanned all of South Walton from Grand Boulevard and Sandestin all the way to 30 Avenue and Inlet Beach. So that was nice to see something that encompassed all of South Walton. And then there was many trunk shows in between. From there,
so Kelly, how did that work? Since it was different from the previous one, how did they make it work by spreading it all out?
From what Jennifer said, she felt that it worked really well. Having it at 30 Avenue, there's plenty of parking at 30 Avenue, and those businesses there were very receptive to it, and they had before they had kind of like discount shopping going on and kind of trunk shows and everything going on there, and that was real. I think that was really good, and that they had it upstairs. I don't know if you've never been to that upstairs space at 30 Avenue. It's very much worth checking out. You can make it into anything. They made it a runway, so it's just a clear space and it can be anything. So I think it's a very underutilized space, and a lot of people don't realize it's there. And then the restaurants after the event each night stayed open late to get more business. So I actually talked with Kevin Corman and Rosalie and Tim Crehan of QA, and they both said that, staying open late, they saw more business than they would have normally seen, so they liked it. I do think it not being held in a tent this year really helped it, because even when it was put back at Grand Boulevard, the past 3 years it's been under a tent, so you've been very weather dependent. And especially, even though the tents, you're covered if it's raining a couple of days, which I know we're ever going to rain again, but if it had rained, the ground was wet, and ladies are dressed up, so you're in high heels, you're seeking down on the grass and that sort of thing. So having it inside at Grand Boulevard in that up space, if you're not aware, there's where Emerald Coast Theater is doing their productions and stuff. Grand Boulevard has a space as well that's very similar to that 30 Avenue space. It was very, I would call it very urban and very walk style industrial, but I think it worked well for what they did. The music, everything paired up very well with that. It did confuse a little people. I did hear that, it did get a little confusing when Thursday night's here, Friday night's here, and then the grand finale Saturday night is in a different place. think they just need to do a better job of communicating, but that also could have been, anytime you have an event that moves around, it gets a little worrisome not getting people there. I did talk with Jennifer after I was there with, and she said it was one of the most successful events that they've had, so she was very pleased with it.
Kelly, also, I think a lot of people that had never attended before attended this year because it was in more than one location. It wasn't just in Grand Boulevard. A lot of people seemed to attend for the first time, so.
And it was easy to get to, and I just, I say this over and over again, parking's a big deal. If I know that I can go somewhere and I don't have to hassle to find this place to park, I'm more likely to go there. And I feel like that's a lot of things that we hear from our visitors that, that's a big deal for them. Moving forward, the Sandestin Gulf Beach Resort, they had the Nashville Summer Songwriters Tour, very similar in some ways to 38 Songwriters Festival, just very small, much smaller. It's only right there in the village, and it's a free event to attend, so that makes it a little different. But I just worked with Brooke on that, and she said she thought it was very successful. From there, we had the Baytown World Beer Festival again at Baytown. It was completely sold out. I wasn't in town for that one either, but there were people from here that attended, and they thought it was very well. It's still a concern, when you have that many people in one space, make sure everybody's taken care of and parking and that sort of thing. But I think they're actually getting that down where it's much easier and opening up other parking with the shuttle, being able to get back and forth, and you can park at the beginning of the resort and drive in. So I think that works really well. The 38 half marathon was held on the 23rd, and that did close down 38 for a little while that morning. I haven't heard anything bad about it. It seemed very well organized, everything that she and I worked on together, so I think that went off well. The weekend of Halloween was the South Walton Celebrity Golf Classic. That worked. That was a little different in that, you have to register to play, and it's a 5-man team, and you get paired with somewhat of a celebrity. It's not Brad Pitt or anyone, but it's usually a retired ball player, sports fan, something like that. That all goes to helping the Operation Renewed Hope Foundation. It's ran by helping veterans when they come back from, serving their country, making sure they have a place to live. That's what that goes to fund. Back in September, we had Runs Up. Carly she participated. I believe she was a winner. So that one was real good, and I do like the fact that one incorporates the dune lakes, Rainbow Beach, everything. It's all of our kind of on the beach and beyond the beach activities that you could think of. And then just this past weekend, Mountain Film on Tour was this weekend. Carly, Allison, and from here, Carly, Christy, several people from the office attended it. And like any year, I think it's experiencing a few growing names there. They got a lot of people coming in, just a couple of things, reminders about people and how that chairs makes it hard to see. So there's some things that Nancy said that, they'll move forward. They'll try to do a little bit better to make sure everyone's, make sure that they're not sitting in the chairs where you can't see, and make sure everyone can use the restroom and that sort of thing. So that kind of wraps it up, moving into looking forward to the next couple months or so. Next weekend will be the Sparkling Wine Holiday Tour, all during November and December. The Rep, which we're a sponsor of, will be doing Every Christmas Story Ever Told. The Thanksgiving Day will be the 3018K, so if anyone would like to run on this committee and you want to, let me know. I can get you a ticket. You can do that if you would be interested in that. We don't have a lot of runners to this office, so if y'all are interested, let me know.
Sandy want to do it,
Just like you said.
Non-committal.
And then, of course, over the holiday, we'll look forward to the Freeport High basketball tournament, which will fill up the Hilton, the Embassy, and the two Marriotts between Christmas and New Year's. And then we'll start over in January with the 38 Songwriters Festival. So those are the things that we have to look forward to. It's a good a mix of events, and we're almost halfway through the year, and it's only November, but a lot of stuff happens in October. So if you're going to plan an event, y'all are events people, don't plan it in October, please. There's plenty in October for everyone. November and February, they need some love. November, February, and September could use a little love there. So just keeping with the theme, it's been a good year for events.
Okay, well, that is a great segue into our next discussion about the sponsorship grant and how we move forward with that. We've been doing this program for many, many years. Before, around 2003, we had Autumn Tides, and it was trying to promote events that happen in the fall, and we had about $75,000 with that. We promoted the fall events, and now we really are becoming a year-round destination. And so Kelly's been administering the South Walton program for 8 years, so that $75,000 has gone up to $500,000. Carly has been administering the North Walton Events Grant, which is $30,000 for this will be the 4th year of 2017. So it has stayed pretty much the same, but we want to discuss with you some possibilities on changes. So we have a little slideshow that we're going to go through. Three of us are going to tag team a little bit. So the first slide is that we accept the applications from organizations. We have 3 tiers. We have the signature events, which are 3-day events. And that, the cap on that right now is $50,000. And then the experience events are 1 day, and that is $10,000. And then the North Walton, in those 4 years, they have gone from 4 events to 7 events, and theirs is $30,000, so they have to share the pot of $30,000. Okay, I'm gonna let Kelly go over these guidelines.
So, for the past 7 years or so, when I first took over the program 8 years ago, it was not merged with what we call the Autumn Tides program, but about 7 years ago, when we looked at the Autumn Tides program and we looked at what we call sponsorship, we were doing the same thing, except one was getting money and one was not. So we looked at, merging those together. So for the past 7 years, we've changed it up, and money can only be used is only used for advertising. So remember that advertising has to be done in our core and emerging markets outside of Bay, Okaloosa, and Walton County. And we really want to concentrate on traditional print, various digital placements. And I throw billboards in here, which to me goes back to traditional print in a way. And then there was some possibilities for some direct mail pieces, radio and video placements. When we look at promoting your website, everyone needs a web presence because typically you buy tickets online. So the only thing that's reimbursable for your website is your hard cost, which would be your purchasing of your URL, not the designing or anything like that. Moving 2 years ago, we looked at having some appearance fees. They were considered as long as they were a common household name. That has to be vetted through not only this office and the executive director, but also legal to make sure that that celebrity is something that's a household name. Someone that's a household name to me might not be a household name to you. So depending on how that works, one of the ways we've used that is through the Fairbrine Lake Half Marathon, which happens at Seaside. The Taste of the Race portion was Emerald Lagasse was there. So being a household name, being who he is in South Walton, it seemed a reasonable expense to have him as a celebrity. And then lastly, this is migrated from year to year by creation of event apparel. And the argument's always been that if you have a t-shirt and you put the South Walton logo on the t-shirt, you wear the t-shirt out of market when you go home and you're being the advertiser. We looked at that and we are still allowing that. It's just much less than we had in the past. We moved that to, if you're an experience event, which you can only receive up to $10,000, you can't spend more than half of your grant. So you'll never spend more than $5,000 on event apparel. And if you're a signature event, you receive up to $50,000. You still can't spend more than $5,000 on event apparel. And the reason for that is we don't want anyone spending $25,000 on t-shirts. We get the best t-shirt ever for $25,000 and lots of them.
Listen, a t-shirt built season. Don't underestimate the t-shirt.
True. I will definitely hand you that. I have plenty of this little bug t-shirt. There's nothing wrong with that little dog. Everybody loves the red seaside dog. And then keep in mind that this program was designed to complement the marketing plan that you already have in place. This program was never designed to be the only marketing dollars that are used. And if we go back to 2009, when we kind of revamped the program a little bit, we look at so far we've given out $831,750 in funds to promote local events. That's a lot of money. You know, when you look at, in 2009 we only had $75,000, and now we're all the way up to $500,000. This program is growing by leaps and
So
bounds.
how does that correlate with the dollars that the TDC's efforts bring in? From the time you had $75,000 to help promote events until now you have $500,000 to promote events. How does that correlate between?
It really stems on, my belief is leadership. 2009 we had $75,000 to give away, or we gave away $75,000. 2010, 90, 2011, 83. The big jump was in 2012. Again, that would have been done in 2011 year. So that would have been different leadership on board, and that leadership brings.
I guess what I'm asking is, since the help, the grant to the companies that are here that promote tourism is to do that, to promote tourism and to create events that do that. I'm trying to understand the value that money is versus how much it actually brought in. So if you took how much you dedicated to event grants and how many tourism dollars you actually brought in that year, is the correlation? Have you ever looked at that?
I think it'd be hard to break that out.
Well, all right, so this past year, what was the number? I've forgotten the bed tax number.
I think there's two things you can look at. I think it's bed tax collections, and I think it's also the number of visitors that we have coming here.
Right, so if you look at the amount of money you can dedicate to the grant, what's your return on that investment is kind of what I'm
Yeah, I don't
trying to
think
see.
there's no way to track it because it's marketing, but what we do is I would take the numbers, the overall gross numbers, right? And
Right, that's what I would.
it's got to be exponential, right? Because there are the multiple times to this, it's a multiple effect.
And
Just
keep in
because
mind-
the numbers are growing.
Yeah, because what were our bed tax numbers last year, do you remember?
Like 21 million.
Okay, so if you just take 20 million versus the $500,000, I mean, that's what I'm looking at.
And keep in mind, for signature events, so for this year, we have 14 signature events. Those 14 signature events give an additional $500,000 in marketing too, because we do digital placement and radio, and just through our promotion that we do, that we have money set aside in the media plan in addition to the dollars that are here. So there is an additional dollar spend there as well. So I think it's right at $500,000 there for the radio ads and the digital creative and running the digital ads as well.
And also when you think about when this program was started, it was started under the premise of incubating and nurturing a new event until it got self-sustaining. And some of these events that we still sponsor have been in existence for over 20 years. So several of them are self-sustaining. The half marathon sells out in 3 hours.
You know, it sells out, so.
It is a signature event, and the most they can ask for is 50, and sometimes it's very difficult because they have their own marketing plan with their own dollars to spend that additional, because if you've already sold out in 3 hours, do you need any more advertising? You know, so I think as we go through this, we need to look at that too, at the newer events, and then the ones that have been around a long time. But, you know, almost $3 million since 2009, that's a lot of money. So our proposal is that this be structured moving forward similar to our co-op program that we have right now, where bed tax collectors buy into our co-op program for a minimal amount. This would be structured, but you of course wouldn't pay. And this would be for 2018 fiscal year.
Yeah, so what we're looking at is playing a little bit off of what Pamela said. We have a very successful co-op program. It typically sells out as well. We offer small vignettes in print. We offer creative. We offer digital creative. We offer advertising in the visitor guide on Facebook and a couple other things. And for a nominal fee, they're allowed to participate. We're talking about moving towards that as well with this program. Obviously, you wouldn't pay for this, but lodging partners think that, you know, it's valuable enough that they purchase into the program. So some of the benefits of this program would be, the greatest benefit, I believe, is the value to the consumer and the comprehensive integrated media plan that not only supports but complements the current efforts that we're already doing. So if you are seeing a South Walton ad in, say, Garden and Gun, you may still see a 2-page spread South Walton ad in Garden and Gun. You may also see an events ad in Garden and Gun too. And this is also, when you think about creating that cohesiveness and that brand message, it's just reiterating that South Walton is the place to be. And also looking at the buying power the agency has. We already have this large media plan that they're executing, so we would be able to leverage some of that buying power that we already have through our regular media plan. It would give us a larger visibility and more frequency of being able to place media, and you would also have the agency on your side. The event partner would to develop the creative and traffic it and all of that. And then through digital, we would make sure that all event partners are sent their analytics after it's over with impressions, clicks, and click-through rates, so that you know that when you advertise, whatever market that was advertised in, if they were interested in your event or interested in what they wanted to know about that. So I think those are some of the greatest benefits, but the greatest benefit in my mind still is giving the consumer what they want. If you're looking at a print ad and it has wine, women, and shoes in February, it has 38 half marathon in March, and then the 2 wine festivals in April, and you're seeing that all in one ad, and you're seeing that as a creative. And this is the January timeframe. You know, if you can't get there in February or March, there's still something for you in April. And if April doesn't work for you, maybe one of the 2 dates in February and March work for you. So it is giving the consumer showing the consumer that there's always something in South Walton to do for them. So when we looked at media placement examples, I pulled that directly from the reimbursement information that events sent to us. So B Metro, Atlanta Magazine, Mississippi Magazine, the local palette, those are the, that's where you're telling me that, event partners are telling me that they advertise anyway. So looking at that, I wanted to keep those because obviously those are important to event advertisers. We think those regional pubs are important too. And one of the reasons that we look at we typically wouldn't put a lot of South Walton advertising in those regional pubs simply because we know events do it and our lodging partners do it, because we look at the fact that South Walton, the umbrella organization, we can afford the Oprah magazines and the Coastal Living magazines. We don't want to take up all the B Metros and the Atlanta magazine when that's something that, you know, our event partners can afford and our lodging partners can afford. And moving to the next slide, it's kind of hard to see, but Carly has a couple of them to put around. This is just mock creative. It does not mean anything other than this is kind of just a thought. This picture is just a picture. It was just one that we would work, and it kind of showed like an event type scape. So the first thing you want to talk about and you look at is when you see our ads, they look very similar, so that you'll know this is a South Walton ad. We always have this big hero kind of text here and this little smaller text, and because we're talking about wine festivals here, we really went with turquoise water to bold reds at a wine festival. And then the smaller print says the year-round food and fun mixes well with all the downtime in South Walton. So it's already catching your eye, and it goes back and forth. And then when you look down here, as I said earlier, here's the logo for Wine Lemon Shoes, gives you the date. Here's the logo for 30A Wine Festival, the date. Sandestin Wine Festival, the date. South Walton Beaches Wine and Food Festival, the date. So if you're like, oh, that's in Sandestin, and then you're like, oh, South Walton is a part of Sandestin, well, you see it's right there. These logos are almost the same size, just a tad bit smaller than the South Walton logo that we put in there. Obviously, we wouldn't want an event partner's logo to be bigger than the South Walton logo. And then we're also looking at maybe you don't realize that the 30A Wine Festival is part of South Walton. I hope you do, but maybe you don't. So we've also incorporated that home of Scenic Golf Drive in 30A. And then this is a picture. This could be a picture of running. This could be a picture of something else. When we don't show the beach, we felt that it was important to still show the beach. So the little small inset here shows that there's the turquoise water that we're talking about. And since this is really kind of all wine festival-ish, we wanted to have a small wine festival, someone drinking some red wine, because we talked about bold reds. So really trying to have something that's all the words on the page, there's something that correlates with that, and then just being able to look at that. So if you see this ad and maybe you turn over to the next page and there's some editorial. So one of the things that we looked at was when you go to the next page, go to the next page, like we said, the hero image and all of that information. But then when you flip over, maybe that's editorial. So that gives our agency the buying power to go in. If we're going to buy this double page spread and we're going to pay this much for it, I also want an editorial. So each one of those 4 events, it might have a full page editorial as far as a paragraph on each one of them to tell you what you're missing and why you should be here. So, or it could be before it, so maybe once you read it, you flip over and you see it. Either way, it depends on how they want to lay out their magazine. But we really feel that it's important for these events to be under the South Walton umbrella, and really realize that while, yes, the Sandestin Wine Festival has its own name and its own brand and its own identity, it's still part of South Walton, and it lives within the South Walton community.
So if I understand now, because I haven't yet heard what the proposal is, but I know what it is. If I have an event and you give me grant money for it, then the money that you formally gave me to create my own ads, you're going to create the ad and place that event, like, are those little white things at the bottom of the logo?
Yeah.
But you're going to place the event itself in the master ad.
Yes, and that's just print. Print to me is the hardest one to, print's the prettiest, but to me it's also the hardest way for your event to be seen. But print, everyone loves print. If we move on over and we talk about digital, When we're talking about digital, these are the same places that Visit South Walton places media, Pandora, Weather.com, Travel Spot, Coastal Living. These will be campaigns that we would run. And so we already have buying power there because Visit South Walton, our brand ads are being ran there. So this would just be an additional, would be in addition to that. And so when you flip over and you see the creative, now you have an opportunity to click directly on that. So if you want to know about the Seeing Red Wine Festival, you see when you clicked on this banner ad right here, it would go straight to the page of Seeing Red Wine on visitsouthwalton.com. We would make sure that that page really spoke to everything that your event was about, and then on that page you have an opportunity to click off for ticket sales, and that's completely up to the event partner. It has, the way the page is set up is you have the opportunity to send them directly to ticket sales, or you have them an opportunity to send them directly to your website where you want to tell them more. So these would be placed in all different these will be placed as we're already doing this. Notice these are already from last year. That's because we placed these last year. These are all signature events, so as a signature event, you're getting this anyway. This would just give us the opportunity to also do more of that, and also have experience events be able to do that. Because currently, if you're like the Baytown Wharf Beer Festival, or you're like the Gumbo Festival or something like that, you're not getting this online from us. You are just getting the money, and that's it. So in addition to that, we also look at it could be a static, or it could be digital graffiti. And I show this one because wish Kelly was here, but Kelly liked it so much she actually used this in their advertising, because all of this can go back to the event partners. We create this, or the agency creates it on your behalf, working with the event partners to make sure the information is correct and make sure all of that does. So this is a rotating banner, so it pulls out classic architecture, and then it flips to modern light, and then it flips to digital graffiti, and this kind of comes up. You can see it. It's really pretty.
So Kelly, Sandra created that, and Kelly Sire was able to use it as part of her campaign too.
So, and everything that we would create like this would be something, we do it anyway, so it's got our brand on it, so of course we would want you to use it if you can. And then you have ready-made ads, and we make them in all the sizes that you would need them, whether it's a skyscraper, a banner, a square, whatever. So those are some of the thoughts behind that.
So the event sponsor, like in this case that you've given, could use those ads for another purpose.
So if because remember, in addition to the money that is spent from this grant program was never supposed to be the only money spent on marketing. So you have your outside market, your own marketing plan. And then if you wanted to use these, because a lot of people, you have to spend your money outside of Okaloosa, Walton, and Bay County, but I mean, wherever you wanted to put that on whatever website you could use it for. And we would work together like I already do. So let me scroll that one. So we already work together, say, with Cultural Arts. One of their mandates, when you put anything together for 38 Songwriters Festival, they feel it's very important to have the Cultural Arts logo on there. So we already work with them to make sure that that's being done that way. And so if that was one of your mandates from your event, to make sure if your event has a different logo than your organization and you want that on there too, we would work with those events to make sure that happens, because we already do that. So it's just really really spending the money and getting more for the money. And then when you move to radio placements, we would definitely look at 30 spots that would run in regional drive markets. We already do this on behalf of signature events, but we do not do it on behalf of experience events because there's not enough money. So we would definitely want to do that for them. And North Walton doesn't get this at all, and I think that North Walton could greatly benefit from being able to do this, because a lot of people in North Walton are not event planners, and they don't have marketing people and they don't have marketing experience. They're just like, I can put together an event and it's great. So, being able to help them advertise that event in Dothan or Mobile or Tallahassee, and being able to utilize our agency to really make a top-notch ad will really help them, really help their festival stick out. And then Carly's going to pass around a notebook we have of all of the different ads that people utilize in their advertising currently. It's all print ads. The only obligation you have to South Walton is to use our logo on it. So if using this creative and this, it really creates a more cohesive brand.
And you really have to look carefully in some of them to find where our logo is located. And I just want to remind you that the South Walton events, the purpose in that is to put heads in beds, and right now it's at $500,000. The North Walton is at $30,000, and their focus is to create an event that a South Walton resident would want to attend, or that a visitor in South Walton coming would want to go up there and attend, and of course the residents in Freeport and Pudiac. So that's what their focus is.
So before we move on to added value, I want to talk about just value in general. So if we go back and we look at this ad right here, If we go back and we look at this ad right here and say, I'm going to pick on Kelly because she's not here. Say Digital Graffiti is buying this ad in Garden Gun. This ad costs $6,000, just say that, this double page spread. So for $6,000, all we're having is Digital Graffiti on there. So if we looked at it in a different way and we spent the $6,000 to buy this ad, and we put these 4 events on there, now I can do at least 3 more placements with the same amount of money and have these ads, these 4 events be in 3 additional issues or 3 different publications. So whereas before, if this was $6,000 and 4 events did it, that would have been $24,000 spent. Now it's just $6,000 spent, and we can do 3 additional placements on top of it. And so you're still having the opportunity for your brand, your event to be seen multiple times throughout the year.
And you're giving the consumer 4 choices. If they can't make one of those wine events, they might be able to make one of the other 3.
And then our media buyer, Kate, she is pretty smart. She does not believe in doing anything with anyone that's not going to give us some added value for that, because she understands that it's important to get more than what you pay for, even if it's nothing more than an e-blast out to their members or something like that. So when you're looking at, full page added value editorial, could range anywhere from $8,000 to $19,000. E-blasts that, really don't cost the consumer, really don't cost that publication anything or that media person anything. They just send it out, especially if you give them creative ready, the creative ready so they can use it. And then also looking at if it's a big enough brand, say a local palette, a Garden and Gun, a Coastal Living. Well, if we're going to purchase this ad, I want you to give us a shout out on social media and track it back, even if it's a Facebook post. Maybe we want you to feature us in your Instagram posts and that sort of thing. So we feel it's very important to make sure that this money that we're spending, we think we can get about at least another half, another $250,000 through added value. So now we're looking at a $750,000 that would be spent on behalf of event partners. So just a couple final things in our opinion is, like I said earlier, maximize those grant dollars for a bigger impact. If you're doing 12 insertions and we've got 10 times more money, now maybe we can do 120 insertions and get your event that much more exposure. And the more exposure we get, I feel like that's the more traffic will drive to your individual events. And also, we want, like I said, capitalize on that added value and create that unified Visit South Walton brand. But really take advantage of your events. So Maybe, I never realized Wine, Women, and Shoes was held in the same place as the Seeing Red Wine Festival. Maybe I've been going to Seeing Red Wine for 15 years. I told the story on Tuesday about I have this lady that calls me every June wanting to make sure if I know when the Seeing Red Wine Festival is going to happen. The reason she calls me is she's a booster at Auburn, and she wants to make sure that Auburn does not have a ball game that day. So she wants to make her plans around coming down to that festival, whether or not it's a home game. So what I'm saying is some of these events really have a big following, and they come to this every year and they want to come to it. So when they start seeing that these events are part of these other events, that's going to get more eyes on them and be like, well, I didn't know that was there, and we should go do that as well. So really giving as Pamela said earlier, giving the consumers more than what they've asked for, and I think that's what everyone's about, making sure your visitor and your consumer is taken care of. Questions?
The event coordinators would still fill out the application, they would still submit their marketing plan, and then the events committee would still look at that and, and make the recommendation. It's a signature event, it's a experience event, and because we've had some events come before you that we did not approve at all, because it really wasn't an event. It was maybe a group that was going to one of our properties. It was a one-time thing. It was more of a sales, a group sales thing. And then we had an educational thing last year that was not granted dollars. So you can still have involvement in that. And as Kelly said, the event coordinator would still work with with Kelly in our agency and supply them with their assets, with the logo that they use and things like that. And I think the bottom line is giving the consumer what they want and putting our brand out there and our partners' brands out there. But this program has grown, like I said, from $75,000 to $500,000, and we have given out almost $3 million. And as you can see from looking at some of those ads, some of the people are very skilled, and then some of them are not as skilled. So I think we have to look at evolving this program and being good stewards of these dollars moving forward. We've been lucky and blessed to collect $20 to $21 million in bed tax. But there may come a time when we have something happen. So the money that we have, we just have to be good stewards of it. Discussion? Opinion?
If I could say, since I've heard this in the TBC meeting, and I asked that it be brought back to the events committee so that you all would understand it from an event perspective, and the marketing committee has already reviewed it, so they understand it from a marketing perspective. It's a change. What it's doing is centralizing the advertising for these events to the TBC. And I have a great deal of confidence in Zender and in the TBC staff in terms of marketing. They've done a great job. They continue to do a great job. And I'm really proud of the ads that I see every time I see the logo. I know that it's important to protect your brand, and that's your job. And it's all of our jobs, being on this committee especially. So my only concern when I first thought about the idea is, how do I do this and continue to protect my brand? And each of the events is in a different stage of development and maturity. And some of the events, like the Seeing Red Wine Festival, which had its 26th year, it's mature. It doesn't need a lot of legs, but some new ones that we as a committee help design the way that we decide who gets the grant money. And one of those factors is the age of the event. Is it a new one? Is it immature? Does it need help? How much help does it need? And you're right, Kelly. A lot of the events simply don't have the resources. And we have to protect the Visit South Walton brand. So that's where I look at it. I think that as far as the creative is concerned, the value of the power of buying is extremely important. So I really support that. I just want to be assured that my brand is still doesn't disappear. And when I see a big ad and I see my brand out there like this, it bothers me a little bit, I have to be honest about that. However, I think this is a partnership. And I know that from working with the TDC staff on Seaside, we work together with them. I think that when we do that that has the logo on it, we coordinate that with each other. And that's all I would like to see continue. I would like to see, for example, if an event is getting grant money and they are at a mid-level of maturity even, that they be able to coordinate that, or maybe required to coordinate that, so that both brands are complemented to the satisfaction of the event and the South Walton team.
So, I think this might help you a little bit and understand. Like I said, none of that set in stone. But we could also go to something similar to this that gives events even more space.
This is our new
This is-
wedding brand ad.
Yes, it's a beautiful brand ad.
You just finished.
I'm sure you do. Keep in mind, those small spots there, they paid $500 for those. And so, you would be able to really, I mean, we could step it up from what we did for here. I mean, we're not married to any of this creative. I just wanted to show you a little bit of a difference there.
So for an example, because your example was wine, and because my example was wine, if this was about wine, then you would put the events that were related to wine in your master ad, right? And they would be like this.
Yes.
Right.
It could be.
And if it was in culinary or if it was running, we'd do a running magazine and do all the.
We would really
races.
tailor it, because number one, because everything is a reimbursement basis for this program anyway, I get to see all the invoices, I get to see everything. So when I'm working with, when I was working together, the three of us, and then even Zender to an extent on where we would place media, I had that information already. I pulled everyone's information together. So one of the things that I do at the end of every event is I take and I put together exactly where each event did where they did their insertions, placements, and so we pulled it directly, those ads, we pulled directly from there, because if you're going to advertise in there anyway, then it makes sense for us to continue your brand in those publications. And it also makes sense for whatever you're going to do on digital for us to continue those as well. So, and then, like I said earlier, I think being able to get those assets back and you can utilize them in other ways is also helpful.
Well, I also think that the maturity, I mentioned the maturity of an event. I think the maturity of a marketing organization is important because everyone benefits from that if it's offered to them. So knowing what publication to use also helps to protect the brand. You may not know what you don't know in terms of marketing something, so you all have some experience, and you have literal experience. What works for this particular event, what works for this particular time of year. And while a new event or a new event might be thinking that Atlanta Magazine would be the ideal, and they're willing to spend their money to be there, you may have experience that is very different. So I think there's a value in that as well.
Seems like all the way around it benefits everybody so much more economically, and it gives the smaller ones the advantage of the professionalism and everything that Zender is already bringing to the table. I think they may not be able to afford some of these other ones that seems like a no-brainer.
Well, we will take this forward then to the December 6th TDC Council that Pam sits on, and we share this Tuesday with the Marketing Committee, and Jim Richard, who sits on our board, he was in favor of moving it forward also. So we appreciate looking at this and kind of picking the pieces apart and sharing your comments with us. Any other comments there? Carolyn, Sandy?
Just the hub.
Yes.
Yeah, you see it in the background.
There's too many people in the picture, Sandy. Are we breaking fire code in that picture?
No, not at all.
Okay, just checking.
All right, so the next thing I'm just going to give you some updates that I give the TDC Council on sales and visitor center and marketing, things you don't normally get to see. I shared it Tuesday with the Marketing Committee, and they found everything of interest, so I'm going to share that with you too. This is the sales section first. We have a lot of properties in South Walton that have meeting space, and so they have their own sales team. So we did a lunch and learn at Trebuchet in August, and we shared our program for 2017. They shared suggestions and comments and shows that they were going to attend. So it was very informational. This is a meeting planner show back in August that Carly and Alicia went to. It's called Connect, and we met with incentive meeting planners, corporate association, and these are one-on-one appointments. They usually last about 6 to 8 minutes, so you've got to have your information down pat. You've got to know your stuff. And then the bell rings, and it's like speed dating, and you move on to your next appointment. This is Wine, Women, and Shoes in Atlanta. This is the first time that we have attended Wine, Women, and Shoes in Atlanta. We've done Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Nashville, and normally it's about 400 to 500 women in our income bracket, and they love seeing us there. We are actually the only destination that attends these. And I got the idea from this a few years back when I went with Kelly to the Sandusky Wine, Women, and Shoes, and it was so exciting. These women were, they were buying things and drinking wine and watching the show. And I thought, well, what if we took South Walton to one of these events? And so I approached the promoter of Wine, Women, and Shoes, and they were thrilled. And so no one else has, I guess, ever asked to be invited. And so now we get to go to any shows that we want to. They love having us there.
And we're always the only destination sponsor.
And see the blue bags there? Every woman gets one of our blue canvas bags. They get some kind of a wine item. They get our visitor guide. They get a flyer that has all of our wine shows, wine events on it. So it's multi cross-selling. So we have a ball at those events, and the women do too, as you can see.
And we also solicit for packages, so when we get there, there's always some lodging partner in the live auction, which is fun.
And they go crazy.
They bid on a package.
But by that time, they've had a lot of wine, and the time the auction comes, they get a little crazy. This is sales missions, small market meetings. We were in Huntsville again, meeting planners, one-on-one appointments. And then we did the Franklin Wine Festival. We've done this for a few years. We didn't do it last year because we decided to do it every other year. And again, these folks are in our demographics and income bracket. And again, we have silent auction items for that. And it's an evening event. And it just cements that we are their beach, and they like seeing us there. And sometimes we have a photo booth where they can get their picture taken, and of course we have wine items for them with our logo on it. And then Connect Florida. This was the first year for Connect Florida. It's suppliers in the state of Florida, so CDBs, DMOs, and hoteliers that meet with meeting planners that book meetings in Florida. We recently, as you saw, the ad that we passed around, we desperately needed a new wedding brand shot. The one we had was about 4 or 5 years old. And these are the ads that we placed in the wedding publications that we use. So luckily we had some in-house talent. The bride is Hannah. She's our Hannah Craft Vermillion. She is our graphic coordinator, and her husband, and they were just married a year ago, so she wore the wedding dress, her wedding dress, and it was just beautiful. And in addition to that, we also did a lifestyle video that same day that Kelly's going to share with you. It's on our wedding site on our main website. Supposed to have music.
Yeah, it does have music. And I can get it to work sometimes, and sometimes I can't.
It's beautiful music. She was a beautiful bride. So now when a bride-to-be goes to our site, they just click on that and kind of dream about the day they will have.
Actually, I don't have those sorts of plans, so
Yeah.
I have to watch it. I can't.
Okay.
Sorry, that's all right. I can get yesterday software and actually understand.
So in one day, we did the brand shot down on the beach in front of Topsail, and then we did the video too. So that was a fun day.
It's kind of weird getting pictures of my daughter doing her wedding and stuff, and I wasn't thinking, she'll be there for this.
You're trying it again.
Oh, it's nice.
Sometimes this room, everything was kind of patched in here. This building's 20 years old, and over the years we've done a lot of wiring in here, and sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. Today is not.
It's not gonna give me sound.
Okay. So the next one is the visitor center. The visitor center should be next, but it is open 7 days a week, 8 to 4:30. We have 3 full-time people out there and a part-time person. And on average, we have about 20,000 people come through those doors every year. And summer, of course, is our high season, and then it kind of slows down. And the snowbirds will be coming soon. And so some of them are here, November through February, some are here just a couple months. And those are the folks that come in 3 or 4 times while they're staying here, and they become best friends with our staff, and they bring in cookies and donuts, and they bond with our staff because they want to know, well, what's going on, next month or next week. And so it's wonderful to see them come back again and again. Our numbers have been down for this year compared to last year, and I told the TDC Council, there's no rhyme or reason, but I've also said, I think, as in anything, we need to look forward and maybe think of ways that we can get our staff out in the community, maybe at our beach, our regional beach accesses. And we were talking about, we have this van thing out there, I don't even know what the make and model is, but we call it Earl, with a transit. And it's kind of an ugly little thing, but we think if we wrap it with our, our logo, we could take that out and throughout the day and visit each of the regional accesses for an hour or 2 and converse with those people that are out there and get out of this building and go out into the public. So that's another way of getting our message out there, especially about leave no trace, on the beach and beach safety, those items. On the flip side, merchandise sales, we are rocking. I mean, look at that, up 96% from 2015. We've got some great merchandise. You might want to look in there. We've got some great shirts and cups and
Our t-shirt.
yeah, our t-shirt. And we sell these things at cost, so we're not in it to make money. We're just in it to get our brand out there. And this is a couple accolades from TripAdvisor from people who stopped into the visitor center saying the staff is wonderful, they're friendly, more information than I even knew was in there, and encouraging people to stop. And part of the problem too is this building, when it was built, it was very easy to get into when you were going south because it was just a 2-lane road. Well, now with the 4-lane and the median, and you have to, it's difficult to get in and out of here. So we think that's part of the problem too. On the left is Christy Gibson. Christy is our new visitor services supervisor. She worked with us back in with me in about 2003. No one else was here then. And she was our PR person, and she did a fabulous job. And then when this job became available, she applied, and she's a great fit for customer service. And then on the right is Joyce Clark. She is our part-time person on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday. She works with one of our full-time people on Saturday and Sunday. So we always have 2 people on the team 7 days a week. Now we're in the marketing and communications update. Kelly, I'm going to let you take this.
All right. So, beginning in May in Houston, someone from the South Walton team traveled to Houston various times throughout the summer. We were a huge sponsor of the children's program at the Cynthia Woods Mitchell Pavilion. It's actually not in Houston. It's actually in what they call the Woodlands, which is a very affluent neighborhood outside of Houston. It's a beautiful place. So we have a vending machine there, and if you tweeted or Instagrammed your picture with this YOLO board and a bike, you are entered to win the YOLO board and a bike, and we gave out promo items and stuff. It was a lot of fun. Those sunglasses they all have on say South Walton on the side, so it was just a lot of fun getting there and getting to see a lot of people that come to South Walton and that maybe want to come to South Walton and the Woodlands there. So we did that. It will conclude this weekend with their final big push, and we'll give away the bicycle and we'll play board. So from there, we went to Nashville, the Music City Food and Wine Festival, and this was our 2nd year there. We were very fortunate to have 3 chefs and wine with us. We had Chef Tim Freehan of QA30A, Chef Nikhil Adwala from Rue 30A, Chef Scott Plumley of all the craft bars. He's the executive chef of all of them. And they each made some signature food for each of the days. And Mike Ragsdale was also there promoting the 38 wine, and he was pouring it as well. This activation afforded us the opportunity to get in front of everyone, similar to where they have seminars and stuff. We did a tasting session with the 3 chefs, and they all had an opportunity to tell about what they made and why they love South Walton and why they made their home there. And then I wrapped it up with, these are all the reasons that it's great to come to South Walton, and I plugged everyone's events. Come and see me. So that was in September 17th and 18th. From there, we went to Dallas. October 15th was our 3rd annual trip to the Dallas Cattle Barons Ball. It was a lot of fun, a lot of hard work. We took Chef Philip McDonald from Bud Nally's Pizza Bar. We took Hugh Mitchell. You may have seen him before at the Hub. He has a kind of a wide variety of music that he'll perform, and he'll also do a couple covers, which makes people happy. They like to sing. They like to hear music they know, which not a lot of artists don't play music that is not theirs, but he was willing to do that. And then lastly, we took Melody Bogle with us, and if you have not had an opportunity to be around Miss Melody Bogle, then you are missing out. She started with a blank canvas, and she painted it's kind of pastels, how she does it, that in plein air way she does that. And when she was done, she had Brighton Beach in front of them. People stopped, and she was just a love. Everyone talked to her. She has a way about herself that people really enjoy. And if you have an opportunity, spend some time with her.
And her commission piece to us is in the visitor center. It's huge. It's
beautiful. It's beautiful. People are excited to see Chef Phil, mainly because obviously it's Texas, so Texas is all about some meat, chicken and barbecue and brisket and all of that. Well, Chef Phil realized that, and he made some pickled shrimp. And we had people just coming around saying, "Oh my gosh, this is so good," and it's such a different from what everything else they were serving at Cattle Barons. But it was a real good event, and I'm really proud of all the hard work the team put in. So last weekend we were in New Orleans. That's me along with Chef Jim Richard. He represented Stinkies and Trebuchet. Chef Jim Shirley, he represented the Bay and Great Southern. Kevin Corman at Rosalie, and Dan Vargo of Cigars. And we were at Boudin Bourbon and Beer. It's the Emma Lagasse Foundation, and we were the largest sponsor outside of Alita Beer in Sazerac. So I don't know if you're familiar with Champion Square in front of the Superdome, but it is a square, and we were the very center. We were the Florida tent. We had the whole center to ourselves. We brought in our experience booth. That picture's taken in the experience booth, and we had the vending machine, and everyone was getting their picture made. And then out from us, we had. In addition to our 4 chefs from South Walton, we had 4 additional chefs from around Florida that all participate in various Emerald restaurants, and we partnered with Visit Florida to make that happen. The Florida tent was the place to be. Everybody was having a good time. We got a shout out from Emerald himself saying, "If you haven't been by to taste the food at the Florida tent, you're missing out." It was banned. It was a great event. We got to really get our message out there, and the people in New Orleans were excited to see us there. So that was a lot of fun. And then from there, we've already shot and participated in the 5th season of Emerald's Florida. We did it a little different this time. There, of course, is going to be food centered, but we thought we would be remiss if we didn't have something to do with some art in South Walton. So on the show, Emerald got to go make his own piece at Mary Hong. So that also, just something a little different, even though it's going on the Cooking Channel. It's just a nice little plug for our art community as well.
Back in August, we were approached by CNN. They wanted to come down and do an all-day shoot to create a segment on the Morning Express. So they drove down the night before. We partnered with St. Joe Company, so we did an all-day shoot out on Watersound, and the day was absolutely beautiful. So they brought the travel Aussie gnome with them, and we had activities for him to do throughout the day. All of them didn't make the morning news, but then they did like some Twitter and Instagram. So we had him building a sandcastle, he was swimming, we had him on a YOLO board.
I don't think the volume is cooperating.
Sorry.
But the gnome is telling him, wait, just wait, something good is coming. And so he's...
Right, he has him doing all these little activities.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let's go over to Seaside and do the Airstream. And he's like, no, you have to sit here and wait for it. And he's like, wait for what? So he has him doing these things all through the
All day
day,
long.
building up to whatever it is that he wants him to see.
Yeah, the guy's trying to talk you into going somewhere.
Right, so he's like, hey, let's go here, let's go there. And he's like, no, we're going to sit here and wait for
So
it.
he's doing a stadium, football stadium. He's doing a turtle. It's now 7 p.m. No mistake.
Here it is. So it was the sunset.
That's why you wanted
That's cool.
It was worth waiting for. We'll send it out and link in an email so you guys can
Yeah.
send it. Well, yeah, it's on YouTube, but if, we'll send it out and link so you guys can see it.
YouTube knows bigger.
With volume, it's so much better. Yes, it loses. While she was finding it, we had Nancy Floyd, she's the editor of In Focus magazine in Nashville. She came back in September and she stayed at Watercolor and did a story on watercolor and visited, things within the community, St. Joe things. And then she also came back in October to Alice Beach and was doing a story on Alice Beach. And then we told her about digital graffiti, and she just couldn't comprehend what that was, or she'd never been here before for that. So when digital graffiti comes, she's going to come back to do an article on that. Just want to give you an update on Miles Media. They're our website provider. We just signed another contract with them. Turner PR, they are out of New York. They started in October, so we have a 3-year contract with them to do our PR. They were here in October for our annual meeting. You may have met them during our annual meeting. 3 of them were here. And so before the annual meeting and after the annual meeting for 4 days, we immersed them in the destination. We took them, everywhere, state parks, restaurants, properties, meeting facilities, to give them a good dose of who we are, what we are, and what we would like them to do to promote us. Then we have a new number for our beach safety text program. The old company that we used, they were going to make us have a new number, and they were about 3 times more expensive than another company that we found. So we are with a new company, and this is the new text number. And anybody that was on the old number, I think it was September 30th that it rolled over. Was it September 30th that it rolled over? So you automatically then get these text on the new number. So all of our signs down on the beach had to be changed. Our promotional items that we give out, the footballs and the cups that had our beach safety message on it, we had to retire those, and we just ordered some new frosted cups with the flag system. So if you're down the beach drinking out of a glass bottle, the code enforcement, the beach ambassadors will give you a cup with the beach safety. And then we're just getting ready to order frisbees with our beach safety message on frisbees. And then, Jay, you want to talk about Director of Marketing?
Yes, Director of Marketing. We had interviews last week, and we have made an offer to an individual, and actually I'll reveal her name if she has accepted the position. Her name is Pamela Lowen. She has experience in DMOs, advertising agencies. She has been marketing director, communications director. She has been executive director, so she has quite a bit of experience. She will be starting on November 28th with the TDC.
Okay.
And we posted director of communications position, and that will close in another, I think, week and a half. And we're holding off on the communications coordinator because I'd like the director of communications input on that position when they start.
Okay, thank you, Jay. I also wanted to share with you, we do a new visitor guide every year, and we've been working on this for about 3 months. So it'll come out in January. This is the cover and the back. A couple of those around. You can see that. It incorporates, again, on the back, the 16 neighborhoods and home of Scenic Gulf Drive, home of 30A. And also, we have a mail house in Birmingham that sends out our visitor guide for our inquiries and publications. So I just wanted to show you how the current visitor guide goes out. It's in this clear cellophane wrapper, so that you'll have your mailing label on there. But how pretty is that when that arrives in your mailbox, or even for the postman to look at, or whoever touches that? We think that is a great way, another way to advertise. Also, we just got these, and this is our new press kit cover. Again, the back is just like the back of the visitor guide, incorporated with 16 neighborhoods. And when you open it up, it has, when we're on the road, especially when we're on the road, the first question we get is, where are you and how do we get there? So this is the airport information with the call letters, and then if you look in here, there's a little snorkeler, and then a place for your business card. So I love it. I've been wanting it for a while. So that is all I have. We have any comments?
So far, I guess I just, I know that we were trying to fill up October with events, and it sounds like we've done a good job of that. So next time would be November and February, is that right? Yeah, so the events, even the 38th, I know that there's having complaining about their getting closed, but I stayed around long enough and then announcing people from Texas, people from all over the place. So it was just a really good event.
I think October we had 7 events. October's a perfect month, we all know that.
But November's getting even better too. Every year it seems like it's getting warmer and, I mean, weddings, and especially, first, second week and sometimes the last week in November. It's great for weddings and the weather and everything.
I mean, we really are becoming a year-round destination. And now with the fall breaks that the schools take, because, people that they say, is it never going to end? When will there be less traffic? I don't know. But we should be thankful for what we have. We're blessed. I mean, there are some destinations that are struggling out there, and here we are, we have a great life, we have great jobs around the area, so we are very blessed. Any comments from the audience? Thank you for coming, Mr. Beckman. Jim, when is the 9 o'clock?
Yeah, I know. I had the Chamber of Government Affairs Committee at 8:30, so it went a little bit.
It's the time change.
Yeah.
He's a stickler. Jim's a stickler. Anyone have any other things to discuss? Not sure when the next meeting is, but we will give you ample time. And as I said, we'll take the sponsorship grant to the December 6th meeting, and we'll move forward with that. You're welcome. I'm big on sharing what other departments are doing. Well, thank you so much for coming. Motion to adjourn. Always forget that. Thank you so much.
So we need to decide on the grant? That's why
They didn't vote on the stuff. This is what they're like.